Peace to all of the kings and queens that's out there. This is your brother, the 13th letter to the cipher, and we are BACKAGAIN today. How are you all doing? Me, I am absolutely fabulous. It was hot as ever outside. Did anybody go down to the lakefront today and get some of that sunshine? I tell you, the heat was maddening, mad humidity. But guess what? We had a great time out there on LSD, Lakeshore Drive. Yes, we did. But I tell you, not only did we have a great time there on LSD, something else occurred. I got my 100th subscriber. I've reached the 100th subscriber. And whoever that person was, Cheerios to you, kudos to you, salute to you, cheers to you, toast to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. However, with all of this good sunny stuff that we got going on today and tonight, the city of Atlanta is mourning because the life of a freedom rider who was very active in the late 1960s, that was active during the 1960s, who was a upstart during the civil rights movement and a keynote speaker at the March on Washington in 1963, is none other than Brother John Lewis. Not only was he a power voice, for justice in America, he helped launch a march across Edmund Pettus Bridge there in Selma, Alabama, where him and those marchers protested were brutally met by law enforcement, cracking skulls, cracking bones, shooting people. Some people got killed. And this took place in 1965. Not only that, some people today are very active into renaming that bridge, Edmund Pettus Bridge. They're looking to rename it John Lewis and the event that occurred there on that bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. After that, he had continued to move on and fight for justice. And in 1986, he was elected as a House of Representative member. And while he served over 3 decades in the Georgia's 5th Congressional District, he earned the nickname Conscience of Congress. Imagine that, being nicknamed the Conscience of Congress because of his relentless pursuit for justice. That's an amazing thing. That's an amazing feat and task. Outstanding. John Lewis. And speaking of Brother John Lewis, he must be rolling over in his grave right now. All of those years he had fought for voting rights, civil rights, and every other rights for humanity. He must be rolling over in his grave right now because based upon and according to the Chicago Police Department, more shootings have occurred, and this time a 5-month-old child was involved. The 5-month-old child was shot in the eye as the child was being carried by a teenager. And he too was with a fellow teenager. All 3 of them got shot. Over there in the Old Town neighborhood. In fact, if you all remember the television program called Good Times, it was right in that area where Good Times was filmed, aka Cabrini Green, which is known as Old Town now. 3 people were shot, and One of those was a 5-month-old child. I mean, Chicago has really like gone on fire. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can't even go outside. Your grandmother can't go outside. She can't go on the back porch. You can't go to the laundromat. You can barely stand at the bus stop or get on the L to go downtown, to go out south, to go out park, to go to Oak Park. Wherever you're going with public transportation, now it is very dangerous. I mean, it has come to a point where as they don't want us outside. And when I say they, I'm talking about all of these murder cats, all of these real dudes, you know. And speaking of real dudes, all of you real dudes, real cats, you know, who like to be gun bunnies, what they need to do with you all is send all of you gun bunny dudes, send you all to a remote island. That's right. Put you on a train, on the first thing smoking to your port so you can be deported to an island where nothing but shooters and real dudes and real cats are at, so that children can grow up to be them. Because right now, many children in the city of Chicago are not growing up because you have silly real cats, silly real dudes want to go outside and bang bang. I tell you something. Whoever know where this bang bang guy's at, please, by all means, snitch him out. The cops want to know where he's located at. Not only do the cops want to know where he's located at, the family members of that 5-month-old child who was shot want to know where they stay at too. Want to know where they hang out at. Want to know where they can catch them at before the police catch them. And rightfully so, they would be justified in doing just such. Would you agree? Would you agree? Just think if that was your child, 5 months old, shot in the eye by some silly cat who called himself a real dude or a real cat. That is what these people do on the streets of Chicago, and apparently it is spreading into New York because New York is on fire as well. It's sad that John Lewis, after all that he have done for the people here in America, would have to view and see this demonstration of savagery after all that he has done and the people that he stood with in the course of human rights, civil rights, voting rights, and anything else that included justice. Could you imagine how John Lewis felt when he would see these young people on the street killing themselves? Not actually in the street with them, but viewing, hearing news like everybody else. Could you imagine that? If I'm not mistaken, he is one of the last individuals that was alive during that time of 1963 and of 1965 when civil rights and voting rights was taking place. I'm not for sure if Andrew Young is dead. I'm not for sure. I didn't check that out. I'm just coming from the whip. Okay? But prior to this, the next hour after the 5-month-old and the 2 teenagers got shot over there in Old Town, there was another individual that got murdered on the opposite side of the town. And this took place on the 1500 block of St. Louis on Chicago's west side, where you had this 20-year-old man on a motorcycle. He was just on his motorcycle, minding his business, when all of a sudden he was approached by 2 men who poured out firearms and sent him to his maker. That's outrageous. Police don't have anybody in custody. I'm sure somebody in the neighborhood saw and know who. They might not know who it is, because all of these shootings, there's no one has been caught, and they will just actually roll up and just give it to you randomly, just like they did that 7-year-old girl 2 weeks ago who was sitting on her grandmother's front porch. She was just visiting for the summer when a car pulled up. One man got out the vehicle and aimed right at her and shot. What could have a 7-year-old done to a real cat or a real dude? Now, after this incident that occurred on the 1500 block of St. Louis, another shooting took place on the 6900 block of Peoria, where they found a man just laying unresponsive in an alley. I'm telling you, it's outrageous here in the city of Chicago. You, me, we must have control and police our own communities. It's up to us now, because as I stated in a prior video, the police has been defunded. And if I'm not mistaken, according to the news, Seattle, Washington got their police department defunded by $76 million. It's taking place all over the country. But remember, this is what many people ask for. This is what many people are protesting for. And speaking of protesters, which I will get to in another minute, but we're going to continue on with this murdering that's taking place, because another hour after that incident that took place with that man that was found in the alley unresponsive on the 6900 block of Peoria, an hour later, a 16-year-old was shot on the south side of Chicago on the 60th block of South Maplewood. An hour after that, you had a 14-year-old shot on the west side, on the south side, southwest, on the 1500 block of South Lawndale. Then you have another shooting, another hour, which involved a 32-year-old and a 34-year-old, both shot. People just riding up and shooting at you randomly, killing you randomly, the same as they killed that woman fatally, just shot her down like a dog in the street over here on 31st and South Shore Drive. And the other two gentlemen that she was with, they were shot as well, but they lived and she didn't. It's outrageous. Could you imagine how John Lewis felt after dedicating his life to servicing the people, and you got the people killing themselves? It's outrageous. All of these bright minds and powerful voices who have died for the cause and liberation for humanity maybe feel like it was in vain. However, Mr. John Lewis did say that he felt like he was having an out-of-body experience when Barack Obama had his inauguration, because he was there. And according to the reports, Barack Obama said that if it wasn't for John Lewis and people like him, he wouldn't be in the situation and in the White House like he was, even though he was selected and not elected. Okay. Another hour after those 32-year-olds that was shot over there on Huron and Kimball, which is like the 3300 block of Huron, which is Holman and Huron. Yeah, you had a 24-year-old shot in the groin on the 4100 block of Jackson. So that's like by what, Jackson and Pulaski? It's outrageous. When would this stop? No one can come outside. And it's not because of the police. The police is not shooting these people. However, I do find something very fishy with these shootings, seeing that these culprits are just rolling up on the victims, getting out of the vehicle or walking up on them and just shooting them. And if I'm not mistaken, if you have been following the stories, all of the stories seem the same way. Like it's staged. Not that it didn't happen, but it's like the same MO. Drive up, aim and shoot, or walk up and approach and shoot. And no culprit is apprehended by law enforcement. But this is what you asked for. And the summer is here. And you know how the people of Chicago get down in the summer. It's outrageous. Not to mention the fact that they are releasing people from prison and from jails due to this COVID-19 virus. So imagine what the hood is like, or it's going to be like. They're letting them out every day, little by little, little by little. If I'm not mistaken, New York is supposed to let out 8,000 to 9,000 inmates. Just see you later. Now you must remember that when they come home, they may have the virus, seeing that it's such an emergency to get them out of there. It's such an emergency to get them out of the prison, yet they want to send, it's so bad that they let inmates out, but they want to send your child back to school. I'm just saying. Anyway, getting back to these murders. I remember growing up, we didn't have all of this shooting. And the guys that's shooting can't aim. Or can they? Seeing that a lot of people are dead because of real dudes, real cats, or perps, perps who are paid to do this, to let the community, let the neighborhood see that you do need law enforcement. I mean, I'm sure this is going to go up all over in major cities of the country where you have high populated areas of poverty. Because where there's poverty, there is crime. I'm just saying. Now you have certain sections of the city where there's no crime. That's because those communities are not full of poverty. Not to mention the fact that those people in those other communities have businesses, whereas and you have those heavy populated poverty neighborhoods, whereas there's no income being brought into the community by the people who stay there because they don't own anything. Crime, murder, shootings, summer, heat, humidity, poverty, drugs, alcohol, prostitution is destroying us. not just here in Chicago, nationwide. It's a shame that these great voices and these people of character have sacrificed their lives to see an outcome in which they have seen today. Think about it. It's outrageous. Not only are they going outrageous with shooting one another, they're going outrageous over the Christopher Columbus statue in Grant Park, downtown Chicago, where protesters and law enforcement clashed. They clashed so much that you had one of the protesters had their tooth knocked out by the police. Phones were taken, crushed, broken. Even according to WGN News, 18 police were also injured. Protesters enunciate that the statue is full of racism. And if you understand the history of Christopher Columbus, you too would agree and know that he was a slave trader. He was a murderer. He chopped off heads. I swear to you, he chopped off the heads of people that were here in America and had those people that he enslaved. They went overseas to Europe. If I'm not mistaken, they went to Britain. Yeah. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who offered their hand end up having it chopped off by Christopher Columbus and his crew. What's the pride in that? Seeing that Christopher Columbus did not discover anything. People were already here. We were already here in 1492. Sad. All the statues that represents racism, that represents oppression, that represents white superiority, that represents slavery, that represents a bad experience for any race of people here in America should not exist. And it's sad that they protect these statues. It's a shame that they don't protect the youth like they protect those statues. And according to the report, the Christopher Columbus statue is still standing in Grant Park. However, it has been covered with a gigantic tarp. In fact, they had ropes around this gigantic statue. I want to know, how did they get those ropes up there to start pulling the statue down? Have you been down there and saw that statue? How did they get those ropes up there like that? I mean, they were pulling it down, and the cops came, and when law enforcement showed up, it was a battle because those protesters and activists wanted to see that statue down. And when the fight ensued, when the quarrel ensued with the fight versus the activists and the protesters, and 18 police injured, tear gas was used. It was a fight. It was going down, just like it was going down in Seattle. And they doing some crazy stuff in Seattle with those federal officers. It's going outrageous. And it's going to stay outrageous and get more outrageous all of this summer. I'm telling you. cutting off people food stamps, people getting evicted, COVID-19, bubonic plague, because rats in Colorado have been reported to have been having bubonic plague. Then you got the swine flu on top of that. People, hey, people are killing people who are the little people, and then you got the big people killing the little people. It's outrageous. The population, depopulation is on the rise, and they are coming out their hats with all different type of tricks. All different type of tricks. But with that, you all, you let me know what you think about the shootings that's taking place in Chicago and what should be done about it. I would really like to hear what you have to say in the comment section about that. What do you think about all of those great voices that stood up for justice, for humanity here in America, whose works seem like that they were in vain? Do you think that their work is in vain, seeing the condition that many people are in after the fact that these people have given their lives for the struggle of truth and justice? What do you think about that? What do you think about law enforcement being defunded across America? What is your community or neighborhood looking like? Some places, according to the reports in Detroit, police are not even responding. Welcome to the defunding. Welcome to eviction. Welcome to food shortages. Welcome to the summer. Welcome to the Wild Wild Midwest. Chirac, Seattle, New York, Memphis, Texas, California, Tennessee. You just watch and see. Georgia, Alabama, all of these places, numbers are going to rise in crime, shootings. And after I just gave my synopsis or my standpoint of how these shootings seem to have the same MO, what do you think? Do you think that people are actually being paid to commit these savage acts? Seeing that these people just ride up and shoot you, and law enforcement has been unable to apprehend these culprits. What do you think? What is your solution to that? I would love to hear that in the comment section. And I want to thank you once again for tuning in and viewing the Mo Show Chicago, because as I stated in the beginning of the video, today has been a great day. 100 subscribers. Thank you all. Keep viewing, keep watching. Stay away from those real cats. Stay away from those real dudes. Have some love, peace, and respect for yourself. It's your brother, the 13th letter to the cipher. Thanks for viewing.